Hello everybody, welcome back to Gotta Get Running. I'm Phil Hargis and I'm here with my good buddy Chris Farley. Chris, good to see you again.
Our first show of 2011.
Shh, don't tell everybody that.
Exactly. Well, glad to be here. I'm very excited about today's show, and I want to get right into it and introduce Elyse Braner. She is the manager of endurance sports and the National Marathon. Thank you for joining us here today, Elyse.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, good. Tell us a little about endurance sports to get started here.
Sure. I work directly with the marathon. I work a little bit on the marketing aspects, our training groups, a little bit on the operations. We also have a pumpkin 5K race that takes place in Reston in the fall, so I work on that as well. The National Marathon is owned by an umbrella organization, the Greater Washington Sports Alliance, which is a nonprofit sports commission here in the district. So we take on other events as well. We're hosting the Army-Navy game this year. We're involved in some of the semifinals for the U.S. Open. And this weekend we're hosting a high school volleyball tournament over at the Convention Center.
But their big event is the National Marathon.
Exactly.
We're really excited about that next month here. And how many runners are you guys expecting for this year's edition?
Between our marathon, our half marathon, and the team relay, we're expecting 16,000 runners, which is a huge increase. In 2006, we had about 2,500. Last year, in 2010, we had 12,000 runners.
And the timing of this race is really good for like people preparing for the Boston Marathon. It's like 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out.
Exactly.
It's really strategically placed. Do you get a sense or a feel that many Boston runners use this as a prep race for that race?
Exactly. A lot of runners here in the local community, a lot of the run groups go out. They use it as their last hard effort before Boston.
And that's what I'll be doing, Chris.
Good. Well, I'm hoping to run the full marathon, and it's called a run through history. So
Exactly.
maybe talk about a little bit about the course here that I'm gonna expect out there.
Runners are literally running through history when they come out and do our race. You start at the historic RFK Stadium, who's hosted several different teams throughout the years. So you start over at the stadium, and you'll go run past the mall. You'll hit 3 of the major monuments. You'll hit the Smithsonian before you turn and go north up 18th Street, where you'll pick up Connecticut Avenue. You'll pass the White House. You'll run up through historic Adams Morgan. And then you'll turn south on North Capitol, run past some of the historic universities up there, Howard and Trinity, before returning back to RFK.
And explain that. So now that's the half marathon, and then the marathoners split off. You've done the half, so you would finish right there into RFK, and then the marathoners split off.
We'll wave bye-bye to you. You guys go back down Constitution.
Exactly.
One thing that's unique about our race is the team relay. It's a half marathon team relay.
Okay.
Team relay, half marathon, and the marathoners all run together for the first 13 miles.
Okay.
So at 13, the half marathoners and the team relay will split off and go to the finish at RFK. The marathoners will continue on. They'll revisit some of the monuments. They'll have 3 unique views of the Capitol before returning down to Anacostia Park and then back to RFK.
Awesome. Cool.
So it's kind of like the theory behind like the New York Marathon, where you run through the 5 boroughs, you run through all the north, south, east, and west of DC.
Right. We run through 6 of the 8 wards here in DC.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's awesome. And a big part of this event, obviously, is the people and the stories involved. Can you maybe share with us some of the participants and the stories from the most elite to the to the back of the middle of the packers?
Sure, of course. We're excited to welcome 2 returning champions. Michael Wardian, who's a local favorite here.
He's won 4 out of the 5 marathons.
He has, and we're going into our 6th year. He's looking to break 2:20 and to claim his 5th win.
Wow.
Which is exciting. We have Patrick Mullen from Rhode Island returning, so it looks like he'll be giving, exactly. So it'll be exciting to see. In the women's marathon, we have 5 or 6 women trying to qualify for trials. They're trying to run their 2:46.
So 2:46 is the trials time. Okay.
2:46 is their standard B, so we should have a nice lead pack for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And maybe some of the other stories, can you maybe give us an example of someone in the middle or the back of the pack?
Sure, of course. One of our most exciting stories, we have a woman who ran the Girls on the Run 5K with her daughter, which is a race for elementary school students. It was her first race ever. She became so inspired by the program and by being a good example for her daughters and showing them what hard training could do that she decided to run our half marathon. So we're excited to host her.
So that was her first race. This is going to be her second race of the half marathon. Wow. Well, they do a lot of charity work with this event, and maybe you can speak to, you mentioned Girls on the Run, maybe you can speak to some of the other charities that are involved?
Sure. We have 7 charity partners this year that use the Run for a Cause platform to fundraise. A couple of our biggest, we have Back on My Feet, who I know you both work with.
Yep.
So we're excited to have them as well. We actually are giving them 50 entries for their resident runners. So we'll have a bunch of the Back on My Feet guys out there, which is exciting.
And this will be their first, the DC chapter's first, full marathon for the Back on My Feet.
Wow.
They did the Wilson Bridge half marathon for their first half marathon last year, and there will be some guys doing their first full marathon on what is basically right around the anniversary, the first year anniversary of Back on My Feet. So it's great that you all are doing that.
We're excited to host them. They also have a large contingent of charity runners as well. So it's a nice balance. They get out there and they help us promote our race, and we're able to help them with some of the fundraising aspects and help them support their resident runners. The other exciting thing this year, we've partnered with United Way, so it's the United Way Team Relay, and they're out there helping us recruit some of our corporate teams for that. And the National Marathon has committed that we will give United Way $60 for every registration that they get for us for the Team Relay.
It's great. I was out last week running, and I saw a bunch of kids with the Teens Run DC logo on their jersey, and it looked like they were out training for the half marathon, or maybe even a different race that you have. Can you speak to us about some of that?
Sure. Ben Foreman, who's the founder of the Teens Run DC program, has built really strong training program for these high school students. They go out, they train for the half marathon and the marathon. I know there are sometimes out at your guys' races as well. So yes, they're training for the race, and we're giving them 50 entries for their kids as well. So you'll see them. We also have the Kids Run DC program, which is owned and operated by the National Marathon. We go into community centers. We give them a 18-week program. By the end of the program, the kids will have run 25 miles, and they'll complete their last mile on race day on the stadium grounds, so they'll have 26.2.
So are they going to run the last mile with runners coming in? Or?
Nope, it'll be a separate mile loop course for them.
Gotcha.
So they'll go run their mile race, and then they'll head over to the finish line and watch the marathoners come in.
That's cool. And they get hooked up with like all the medals and all the bling and everything. So
yeah, one of the National Marathon is owned and operated by a nonprofit, and our big cause are children's sports and promoting awareness about obesity. So any profit that we receive from the marathon goes back into supporting those programs right in the DC community.
Yeah, I mean, you just hear about how bad the problem is with childhood obesity and everything. It's good to see groups like you, Pacers, and the NFL has their NFL Play 60 campaign, and it's great to see more and more kids out at these races. I mean,
yeah, it's a real community event, and it's true DC community. That's great. There is a qualifying standard. Can you speak to that a little bit? And why do you guys have a qualifying standard?
Sure. The qualifying standards serve various purposes. Not only is it because the streets will close 3 hours for the half marathon, 6 hours for the marathon, it goes a little bit deeper than that. We're very into supporting the DC and surrounding communities. And we feel that if you have a qualifying standard, it's going to have it's going to force people to go out and run that 5K, run that 10K. So maybe they'll go out and run a Pacers race or DC Roadrunners race.
Right.
So we're supporting the community in that way. Also because one of our causes is childhood obesity, we want to get runners that aren't in it just to cross it off their list. We want people who are going to continue to participate in the sport. We want it to become a little bit of a habit and routine. And it makes the competition a little bit stronger. People feel that they've accomplished something if they're able to qualify.
Sure.
So
it's a great concept.
So once they finish the race, what kind of exciting stuff do you have for them at the finish line this year?
Sure, we have our Finish Line Festival. We have we'll have some entertainment out there. We have the beer garden out there. We have various food trucks coming. I know you were talking about the lobster truck when I walked in. I don't think they'll be there. But yeah, we have entertainment out on course is going to be strong this year. I know sometimes the marathoners feel lonely down in Anacostia Park. We have 2 great motivation stations out there, about mile 24 and a half and mile 22. We're going to have a couple marching bands out there. We're working with Friendship Public Charter School, so there will be lots of entertainment. And then we'll have 6 other motivation stations throughout the course. Over in DuPont Circle, SunTrust Bank is hosting popular jazz band The Grandfathers, so that's always a big draw. We'll have a DJ over at mile 6, and we have a couple other bands throughout the course.
And from a spectator standpoint, what are some of the better areas to like go watch your runners come through, and you can like kind of catch the people that you're looking out for like the most amount of times?
Well, we're going to be publishing in our spectator guide all of our motivation station areas. So mile 5, we have mile 6 and a half. We have something over at mile 11 as well.
Great. Also, I believe it's new this year. You guys have a National Marathon Ambassador Program. And you've got 11 members in that. Talk a little bit about that.
We do. We're very excited about our National Marathon Ambassador Program this year. This was a way to get into the community a little bit more, get people involved in our Run DC programs. The ambassadors are people who are very passionate about promoting our sport, very passionate about the DC and surrounding communities. I'm very excited about learning the behind the scenes of a marathon, about the operations and the marketing that is involved in it. So we have a couple of triathletes, a couple of marathoners. Everyone's going to be running our race, and we're actually all going to be out there March 13th running the St. Patrick's Day 8K.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so we try to get together. We make it social, but they serve as liaisons, so they're out there listening to what's in the community, bringing that back to us. They work a little bit with the runners in our training groups as well.
So you also have, you got a lot of people who help put this thing on, but 90, you said 90 pace runners who,
yes.
and what pace group lead, or what are the times that they'll be leading? What time increments will they be leading the groups in?
Sure. We have 90 pacers this year. We've partnered up with the U.S. Naval Academy Marathon Team. They've been our pace team partners since the very beginning. We're actually doing something a little bit different this year. It's something unique to marathons. We'll have pace group every 5 miles as opposed to every 5 minutes as opposed to every 10 minutes. For the half marathon, we'll have pace groups from 1 hour 30 up to 3 hours. For the marathon, it's going to be 3 hours up to 5 hours.
Wow.
So you'll always see someone ahead of you.
So when I go there, I'll know where to lock in and who to follow. That's awesome.
You'll be a little bit ahead of our pace groups, but
we'll see. I don't know.
You should get into the Wardian pace group. Hang on.
I cannot. That would be a short trip there. That's awesome. Can you talk maybe a little bit about the fitness, health and fitness expo, which I know is a big part?
Yep, our Health and Fitness Expo will be Friday, March 25th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have our packet pickup. We have bunch of new vendors this year, so it should be exciting. New element this year, we have what's called a movement square, and we've opened it up to the community. We're going to have half-hour classes, so anyone can come and take part in a Zumba class, yoga class, a little bit of strength training. So that way it gets the families involved, gets people from the neighborhoods down there. We also have our speaker series again this year, which is very popular. We'll have local runner and author Jeff Horowitz down there. We'll have a couple of elite coaches. Mark Davis will be talking about the course.
Yep.
So we're excited.
That's good.